Hey everyone, it's Michael Zapersky here, and today I'm very excited to have Gary Peace with us. Gary, welcome.
Hi, Michael. It's great to be here.
Yeah, Gary. So you spent the last, I should say you spent 18 years as a police officer and investigator in London. Today, you're the founder and managing director of ESID Consulting, and at your company, you support all types of different organizations, security teams, family offices, boards, legal, HR, business owners, really to help prevent data breaches, reduce disruption caused by insider and kind of cyber attacks, as some people kind of think of the cybersecurity world. So let's kind of go back in time a little bit, because your background, your story it's in some ways it's like out of a movie to a degree. You and I have joked on many calls as we've had over the years here, but like, what first made you, where was like the impetus or the attraction of getting involved in law enforcement and becoming a police officer?
Oh, yeah, well, it was a long time ago. It was, I actually originally wanted to join the armed forces, but defense cuts came along and I couldn't get to go and do what I wanted to do. So it was looking around for the next best thing, if you like, that would get me going. And so I plumped for the Met Police and went to join the police at Scotland Yard in London.
And then once you got in, you were in Scotland Yard, how did you go from just being, kind of welcomed into ending up kind of managing, teams in different areas around security? Like, what was the drive or the pull for you to get really into the whole world of networks and security and counterterrorism, or all the areas that you were kind of involved with? Just maybe just describe a little bit more of like the work that you were doing at that time.
Yeah, so I guess pretty much. I mean, everyone starts off the same in the police in the UK. Everyone starts off in uniform for 2 years probation, and then you get to specialise after that. You need to stay in uniform when you go down the detective route, which is what I did. So probably within 6 months of coming out of probation, I joined the CID and ended up doing kind of proactive patrols for robbers and drug dealers and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what got me dragged into it. I enjoyed investigating. I enjoyed getting my teeth into proper investigations, and that's what dragged me in, or drew me into the CID, into detective work. And yeah, that's where I ended up doing the vast majority of my 18 years.
Out of all the different kind of projects or cases that you were involved with, which were the ones that maybe stood out to you most, or that you enjoyed the most? You mentioned you're involved with drug dealers, or just all kinds of different cases. Like, which were the ones that you enjoyed being a part of the most?
I don't know whether I enjoyed it most, but I ended up dealing with racially motivated crime, homophobic violence, domestic violence, and I ended up doing that for 4 years, covering the whole of Westminster. So 5 different police stations, and that was heavy going. It was hard work, challenging work. None of it really went to court, because that's just, a lot of it didn't go to court. That's just the way things were with domestic violence. But it was hugely rewarding. And so I'd say probably for the 4 years, it almost killed me, but that was probably the most rewarding of the jobs I did. But then later on, I got dragged into professional standards, internal investigations, that kind of stuff, and anti-corruption. So we targeted corrupt police officers, and those are corrupt police, the organised crime that's out there trying to bribe police officers and destroy cases and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's kind of where I ended up, and I spent a good 8-9 years of my service was investigating corruption.
Right. So let's fast forward a little bit. You left the kind of the formal world of working inside of the police kind of department and an organization to go off on your own. When you left, did you know right away that you wanted to get involved in consulting, or were you thinking about other options? What was that like at that time?
No, it was definitely, I wanted my own business. And because of the stuff I've been doing for kind of the last 8 years at Scotland Yard with anti-corruption and computer forensics and that kind of stuff, data breach investigations, that was definitely where I was aiming at. Consulting thing, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't really, I didn't really know about it, to be honest. I left the police with a skill set, thinking, okay, I want to go into business, and I kind of fell into contracting initially, and then that kind of moved over into the consulting world. So
Yeah.
it was it wasn't a planned move.
And so the first clients you had as a consultant, you mentioned this was more, you were kind of acted as a contractor. So were the first projects, were they coming through other organizations that were offering services and you kind of worked for them? Or just walk us through like the first few clients that you got, where did most of that business come from?
Yeah, the first couple of clients, it was data breaches had happened. And so someone else was investigating the computer forensics behind how something happened, how someone stole data. And then they came to me to put the systems in place, the management systems, the governance and the procedures to stop it all happening again. So that's kind of how I ended up in those first few jobs. And then another big contract was Competition and Markets Authority in the UK. They were setting up from scratch, and they needed someone to set up their first criminal cases on their forensic software, and so I fell into that one as well. So it was a bit of a mishmash, really. It was government, it was private companies, but it all had something to do with either investigations or leakage of information in one form or another.
So you gave a presentation a little while ago to some of our Clarity Coaching client group around cybersecurity and best practices, which people, I think felt was very, very helpful. More so today, right? I mean, in the sense that this is top of mind for a lot more people in terms of cybersecurity and privacy and protection of data, just because more and more people are online, right? Things are in the cloud. But I want to back up for a moment before we get into some of these best practices to share with everybody. Have you seen a big change in the industry? Because you've been involved in this area of work that I think probably if you went back 5 or 10 years, not many kind of standard typical consultants or consulting firms were paying much attention to cybersecurity. And these days you see it in headlines, almost every day. Like there's a lot more in terms of data breaches and things of that nature. Has there been a surge of, a volume around this area, or is it just more that people are kind of catching on, like this is actually happening? How have you seen the landscape of cybersecurity and data breaches shift over the years?
I think there's been a big change in that if you go back 10 years, everyone talked about IT security as opposed to this kind of cloak and dagger world, called cyber, which actually is a term I hate, because everyone thinks it's cloak and dagger, everyone thinks it's all to do with dark arts, and actually it's not. Cyber crime is just old-fashioned theft, fraud, or criminal damage, but it's just been done over a computer. Right. That's it. Nothing's changed. The people doing it have changed. If you go back 10 years and you talk about hackers, it was, the stereotypical image was some, spotty kid sitting in a dark room, clicking away at computers and that kind of stuff. Actually, it's big money now. Money is the new gold. It's the new oil, all that kind of stuff. It's information, and it's been commoditized. And it is all about it's the cyber criminals that are out there now. There are a number of threats that are coming from Russians, from Chinese, North Korea. If you're talking about the Chinese, then it's all about high value intellectual property. You talk about Russians, a lot of it is Russian criminal gangs. But actually, what it all comes down to is commoditizing and monetizing your information. And that's where the big change is. It's now big money. So when you're getting hacked now, it's by organized criminals. And literally, you can go onto the dark web, and you've got a shopping cart. You can go out and buy the programs to hack computers. You go out and buy information, and it's all for sale, and it's really, really professional. So I think that's probably one of the biggest change over the last 10 years is it's
Right.
gone from being the script kiddie sitting in a bedroom to being an organized, it's organized crime. And there's big money behind it.
Is this an issue? Does the solo consultant or small consulting firm owner need to be concerned about this, or is this really only an issue for larger organizations?
No, absolutely. This is an issue for everyone. So if you look at the likes of BAE Systems or General Dynamics and huge multinational companies, they've got billions in revenue. They spend millions and millions on their cyber defenses. But actually, and they need to do that because they're being attacked by nation state actors to a greater or less extent. But the thing is, if you're a consultant and you're in their supply chain, then you're actually at bigger risk than perhaps they are, because, and there were a whole bunch of figures before COVID came along. The supply chain risk was the biggest risk in cybersecurity because it's far easier to attack the sole consultant who maybe doesn't think he's at risk or doesn't think it's a threat, or he hasn't got the money to spend on cyber defenses. So therefore he's got the bare minimum in place. So the hackers will go for that sole consultant or that small, very small micro business because they know that they're not spending thousands on cyber defenses. But actually, if they break into that small consultant's database or that small consultant's computer, then that's the way in to the big corporations. We've got a lot of American viewers here. If you think back to Hillary Clinton and the Donald Trump, the elections, and Hillary Clinton's emails were hacked. Actually, the way her emails were hacked was because they got in through the interns and they got in through her supporters who didn't have the security in place. And once they broke into those helpers, they were then able to go through all the different networks through emails and so on and so forth to get to Hillary Clinton's email account.
Right.
That's the easy way to do it. If you think, perhaps the easiest way of looking at it, if you go along the street and you've got 4 houses and the 3 of them have got a burglar alarm box or intruder alarm box on the walls, the burglar is going to pick the one that doesn't have that box on the wall. It's about picking the low-hanging fruit and finding the easiest way to get into a network. Once you're in, and you can do what you like.
Let's talk about for a minute, just provide everyone with a little bit more context around how are people actually going in and stealing information or accessing your computer, your database, your network, and then let's talk about what people can do to to protect against that. So just to begin, let's say the standard, the typical kind of situation for how a hacker, how someone might try and access a consultant's kind of computer or network. What would that look like, first of all, Gary?
Okay, so I mean, the first and the easiest way is social engineering. So effectively, they will they'll look at a big company they want to attack, and they'll try and find the easiest way in. So one of those ways was that they'll be looking at who's maybe joined that company. So they'll be looking at social media, they'll be looking at news reports, that kind of stuff. Who's working with a particular company or organization. And quite often an SME or a sole consultant might announce on social media that, I've just got a contract, or I'm now working with blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. Or it goes on their LinkedIn account that says, I'm now a consultant for company ABC. So that's the person those attackers will have a go at. Or another way might be that a new employee joins company ABC, and they've put on their social media profile or their LinkedIn account saying, I've now just started as an intern with this so-and-so company.
Mm-hmm.
So the hackers will then socially engineer and attack that particular person. And they'll do something quite simple as, maybe they'll find out, they'll become friends on Facebook, or they'll become friends on LinkedIn, or so on and so forth. And over a period of time, they'll befriend that person, they'll get into a conversation, and they might send them an email, or they might send them a connection request, or send them a link or something on the social media platform, knowing full well that that person will click on the link. Or because they know it's come from a known email address, they'll open that email. Now, if they do it at a particular time in the day, that person will open it from their work computer, because maybe this organization has a policy that says that their employees can surf the internet in lunchtimes, or they can go on the social media account in lunchtimes, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
They do that, they click on a link, they download some software to that computer without knowing it, which captures usernames and passwords, and bang, hey presto, the
I just
hackers are
want to
there.
jump in just to clarify. So you're saying that, just so that everyone's aware, you can open an email or click on a link. You're not even aware that there's software being downloaded into your computer that's going to grab passwords and other things of that nature. It's just happening in the background.
Happens in the background. Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
And that will capture credentials and user credentials, that kind of stuff. With again, which is one of those. That's the kind of the golden nugget for lots of these criminals and these hackers, is they need those credentials, because once they get the credentials, then they can log into your account using your password and your username and so on and so forth.
Right.
What you also got to bear in mind is lots of these people will also share passwords and share usernames. So if the hackers manage to grab one password, they probably know that you're using it on another 5 different websites. So it's not only the company that's at risk, it's your own personal data that's at risk. It might be your own bank accounts, it might be your other social media accounts. Once they've got that one password, if you're sharing it, then potentially they've got access to everything else.
Right.
So that's kind of grabbing the passwords. But one of the other threats is it's called CEO fraud, which is where they will look at for example, a profile on a company webpage, and they'll fire in an email to the CEO, supposedly coming from the CFO, saying, can you please pay this invoice, and so on and so forth. And we all know that, when you see an email address, it truncates it down. So mine is Gary Peace at ESID. Actually, that truncates down to Gary Peace, and you don't get to see the ESID on the end. So if you just change one character on the end of an email address, no one's really going to notice it. So they don't know that it's coming from a dodgy email account. And that email might contain an invoice, which is then going to go to the CFO or the CEO and so on and so forth. And again, if they time it at a particular time of day or night, or whether they know that someone's away on holiday or a conference, then and they put enough urgency behind it, and a bit like using sales techniques, put some urgency, put some context behind it. That person will click on that link, and there's a very, very good chance that those invoices will get paid, and they'll get paid to the wrong account.
And how often, I mean, is this an issue? Again, if we're thinking about the small, consulting firm or solo consultant, is this, in your experience, is this stuff happening all the time? Is it just a rare occurrence? What are you seeing in the marketplace right now?
It is. I mean, it's massive at the moment, especially with COVID fraud. We're talking about PPE. There's millions and millions of pounds worth of fraud has gone on with PPE equipment and so on and so forth. But actually, if people are also latching onto the whole COVID thing and working from home, what you've got to remember is you've got a whole bunch of people that were in corporate environments are now working from home addresses,
Right.
on routers that haven't been patched, they haven't been updated for many years. They're possibly using home computers which don't have the same protections that the corporate equipment would have. So if you add all that into the pot, together with a lack of supervision, that people aren't in the corporate environment, so they're sitting at home, they've got the kids screaming in the background, the dogs are barking, the postman's knocking on the door, they're trying to do some work at the same time. They're not going to be paying the same attention to these spoof invoices or emails that are coming in and going out. And because they're not on the corporate systems, they don't have those protections that you might have in the corporate environment. So, the fraud has gone, I can't remember what the figures are now, but there was something like a 600% rise in fraudulent attacks over the COVID period, because everyone's been working from home.
Let's go through then a bit of a progression for the listener viewer right now that's going, okay, I haven't done anything about this. I probably need to treat this more seriously. What would be the progression if we just start off the easiest first step to try and protect oneself? What would be the one thing that's not hard to do, and people should consider it and just look into taking action on it quickly?
Okay, well, first things first, make sure you've got antivirus on your computer. It can be the free version, so you don't have to pay for it. They're all pretty good. But make sure your antivirus is on the computer and it's turned on. But so that's kind of the first thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, is make sure your computer is completely up to date. So, and what I mean by this is it's called patching. So every Tuesday you turn your Microsoft computer on, and it goes into this automatic updates, which is a real pain, especially when you're sitting down for it to go on a Teams meeting or a Zoom call or something, and all of a sudden your computer kicks into overdrive. Essentially that's called Microsoft Patch Tuesday. And it's basically when Microsoft roll out all of the fixes to the vulnerabilities and the issues that it's found out over the last few weeks, and it's rolling out fixes to those vulnerabilities. It is essential that your computer is as up to date as you possibly can. So always make sure that those patches are updated and those rolled out. If you look at your iPhone, for example, and you might be on iOS version 14.0.1. Well, the reason they roll out version 0.0.2 was because they found some vulnerabilities and some glitches in the previous software.
Right.
If you don't update that software, then it means you're vulnerable to attack.
Yeah.
And vast majority of the hackers, they're not targeted. It's just a random kind of drive-by. They'll fire out some software, and they know that if they fire out the software to enough people, they will pick up a bunch of people that haven't updated their software.
Right.
And that's the way into those.
So
those
Gary,
machines.
I mean, the two things you just mentioned right now, in terms of antivirus and updating the version of your software on your computer, these are very simple, straightforward things that anybody can do and 100% should do. But that's not why your clients hire you. So take us to that next level, in terms of the work that you're doing. What kinds of things are you helping your clients with to really protect them, to try and reduce or eliminate data breaches, to ensure that there isn't those kind of security issues actually occurring?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are three outcomes that pretty much all of my clients want or need. And it doesn't matter whether in government, whether in defense, whether they're private companies or whatever. The first is protection of IP or data. So what are your crown jewels? What is it that you've absolutely got to protect beyond all else? So it's protection of intellectual property. Secondly, it's preservation of assets. Now, I don't mean assets in an information such. I mean your IT network. So are your computers patched, up to date? Do you have firewall on? All that kind of stuff. So there's protection of assets, but that's also capital. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the bottom line. It's making sure that you're not going to lose money because you've just been hacked. Because not only if you employ me or someone else to come along and investigate the data breach, it is ridiculously expensive. But then you've got to take into account that you've got to get your IT team to fix those things as well. Then you've got reputational damage. Then you've got the fines. And if you think of something like just the GDPR, for example, you're talking 4% of global annual turnover. So you could be talking many, many millions of dollars. So it's protection of IP, protection of preservation of assets. And then lastly, it's securing your reputation. And that's probably one of the biggest things, because if you lose your reputation, you lose your customers anyway.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that you're protecting your reputation. So it's those three things. And if you look at a bit like a Venn diagram, if you look at those three things all together, the bit in the middle where they all overlap, I call that your critical data assets. So they are your crown jewels, because you don't have to protect everything in the same way, but you need to identify what are your most important assets. And that's what you have to look after. The way we do that is by putting a bunch of controls in place. So not only have you got to have your IT controls, so like I said, your antivirus, your anti-malware, your patching and all that kind of stuff in place, encryption, all those kind of things. But you've also got to look at your people, your policies and your procedures. So what are your people doing with your data? One of the a lot of security consultants will say that people are your biggest risk. Actually, I'd say no, they're your biggest assets, because at the end of the day, they're the first line of defence. They are the ones will notice whether, John Smith is bad mouthing the company, or whether he's staying late or leaving early, and all that kind of stuff, or he's maybe accessing a printer that he's never used before. Well, why is all that kind of stuff? So, So what do I do? It's about bringing all that together. It's about bringing your IT controls and your people controls all into one place, and then looking at the risk overall.
Right.
And that's how we help manage the insider threat, or that anti-corruption risk. So the insider threat is someone who's got access to your data, your network, your IT. And they could be a contractor, they could be an employee, they could be a family member. It's anyone who's got access to that data. And it's the risk that they pose to your organization.
What about Wi-Fi networks? I mean, you mentioned when we've spoken before, when you give that presentation to our group, that Wi-Fi can be quite dangerous. I think a lot of people, when you're on your cell phone in an airport, at a cafe, you access public Wi-Fi. How dangerous is that? What should people be careful about in terms of public Wi-Fi?
Okay, well, public Wi-Fi is actually touches on two things. So if you look at emails, for example, if I send you an email today, so I'm sitting here in the UK, you're in Canada, I send you an email, that email will bounce around a whole bunch of servers as it gets to you over in Canada. Everywhere that's bounced, potentially someone can read that email, because it's like an email is like sending a letter without an envelope. It's open, anyone can read it. The only way of protecting that is to encrypt that email, or use something that I'll perhaps cover later, called a VPN, which is a way of tunneling that communication in a secure way. If we then look at Wi-Fi, so if you're sat in an airport lounge or a coffee shop or whatever, I can sit there with a bit of kit on my computer and I can sniff the airwaves. So effectively, I can see all of your communications leaving your computer or your mobile phone and going off to the internet. And it's a free bit of software, and it's not very expensive kit to do that, and anyone can do it. And actually, I can set up my own spoof Wi-Fi. So if you say you're sitting in Starbucks, for example, and you're on the Starbucks Wi-Fi, well, if I create a spoof Wi-Fi site called Free Starbucks Wi-Fi, who's going to know which is the real one? Well, actually, if they log on to mine, I can again read all of their information. Right. So the way to do that would either be, I would say, strongly suggest, if you're either you tether your phone so that you're using 4 or 5G and go access the internet through your phone connection, not the free Wi-Fi, or download some VPN software, which is a virtual private network. And again, they're not particularly expensive. If you've got an Apple iPhone, for example, you can just turn it on automatically. It comes with the phone. So make sure your VPN is turned on. And what happens is that all of your data is then transmitted effectively through, it's encrypted, it's protected. So if you imagine a hose pipe, you connect the hose pipe to the tap on the wall. You turn the tap on, your hands don't get wet because that water is flowing through that hose pipe. That's exactly what a VPN does. All of your internet communications, or your emails, or your web surfing, or whatever, is all going through that hose pipe and coming out the other end. Right. No one can tamper with it. No one can see it. That's what a VPN does. So if I'm going to be in a hotel or a coffee shop, that's what I'd be using.
I mean, it's so interesting because I think so many people, and I certainly was in this camp for quite some time, you look at all this stuff and you just think, yeah, but like, I'm probably okay. This is really for large organizations, or how relevant is this for me? But I think what's happened, as you've just shared, like especially over this last kind of 2 years or so through COVID, it's accelerated the danger and the prevalence of and how common, right, it is to have these kinds of breaches or security issues. And I think what's important for everyone to know, this kind of like a call to action to all of our listeners, right, is it's not just about your phone or your computer. Think about your clients, right? So if you have client files, client information, you're not only putting yourself, potentially your family or anyone else, around you at risk, but you're also putting your clients at risk. And you hit on something really important, Gary, which is not only could this cause fines and downtime, but also, as you mentioned, reputation. So imagine if you are the one that all of a sudden causes a bunch of issues for one of your main clients or any client, and now they have to deal with kind of fixing that issue. They're not going to be very happy with you, right? So I think we all want to look at what can we do to ensure that we're providing great security and protection, not only for our own businesses, but also for anyone that is entrusting us, right, with their information as well, and that you're handling that properly. So I think that's a really good point there, and some great tips around this. Is there anything else when you think about, even your business, Gary? Like, so you have access to all kinds of very cool technology, and what's happening in the world, right, of security. What is maybe one thing that you do that might be a little bit higher level? It's a bit more kind of advanced, but you just think it's a good approach to greater protection. Is there something that we haven't yet kind of touched on that you're doing that you think could really be beneficial for others as well?
I think it's looking at things in the whole, looking at things holistically.
Yeah.
Because of my background, you can employ a consultant that does GDPR or data protection on its own, but they don't know anything about forensics. You can employ a forensic consultant, but they don't know anything about governance. Because of my background and what I ended up doing, I've done all of that, and the only way to properly secure an organization or a person, a high net worth individual, something like that, is to look at things holistically. So you've got to bring everything together, and I think you've also got to look at all the threats and what it is that tips people over the edge. So, for example, my big thing is insider threats and looking at counter espionage and that kind of stuff. So, but we know what it is in people's lives that they call them stressors that push them over the edge. So I think perhaps the way I look at things is no one's above and beyond reproach. Bear in mind, I used to investigate police officers who were on very good salaries with very big pension pots and so on and so forth, yet they'd still sell information to the press, sometimes for the price of a cheap meal. So people would throw these things away for all sorts of different reasons. But if you look at very simply, mum and dad with their mortgage to the hilt, they've got 2 kids, 2 cars on hire purchase, and then dad gets poorly or something, or mum gets poorly, so dad's got to pull double shifts. And then something goes wrong with the car, or the washing machine packs up, and all of a sudden you get all these things that start bubbling up. Add into that maybe he's been passed over for promotion at work, or he's being bullied by a bad boss or whatever. All of these things, if you look at all of the research that's gone into this, these are what we call stressors that if you add them up, eventually it will push that person over the edge. So, for example, someone then comes along and says, well, actually, here's a couple of grand in the back pocket if you can just give me that bit of data. I challenge anyone who says that they won't come a point in their lives when they will be tempted. And I think that's what people they've got to look for, because everyone assumes that, no, it doesn't happen in my company. My staff are all happy. No, we don't have any bullying. Well, I challenge anyone who says that anyway. There are always people that are going to be unhappy. No one comes into a company being disgruntled or being unhappy with their firm, because they all join a new firm and they're all raring to go. Most unhappy employees are created, and they're created through circumstance or through bad management.
Right.
And then if that continues, that unhappy employee becomes a disgruntled employee, and then therefore temptation comes in. So you've got to look at the people side of it, but then also you've got to have the technology to back it up. So we've got some clever kit which will recognize anomalous behavior, someone doing something outside of the norm, something they haven't done before. When you tie in the stressors and you tie in the unusual behavior, and then you feed that into the management team, which is what we create. We create an insider threat management program. If you feed that into the right channels and you apply context to it, then that's when you end up with that real nugget that says, actually, we need to maybe look at that person.
Right.
Not for anything bad, but it might be you solve it by just saying, look, John, we're really sorry you didn't get that trip, or you're really sorry you didn't get that promotion. We'll make sure you get it nice next time. And by just doing something as simple as that, it may well be you avert disaster.
Right.
So you've got to have all that.
You're looking at from the perspective of when you're working with clients, you're looking at the people, you're looking at the technology, you're looking at the overall kind of analysis. Like you're doing a really very comprehensive look at all the different variables that could cause an issue, and then based on kind of your analysis of that, then you figure out what needs to be adjusted or repaired or removed or added to ensure that the whole environment, the whole business, kind of the whole system, or I guess ecosystem is protected and safe. That's what I'm hearing from you.
It is, and it is an ecosystem. Absolutely, you've touched on it. It's putting an ecosystem in place that allows trust and transparency with an organization. Right. And if you've got a level playing field with an organization, you've got a happier workforce. Therefore, your risk of disgruntled employees goes down. And it's having that environment where you've got checks and balances, but actually you're relying and trusting your staff to get on and do their job. And if you give them that opportunity, they will, and they'll pay it back in. They'll reward you in spades. But it's about treating people fairly and equally.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really important topic, and that's why I was very glad to have you on, because it's an area that, again, some people don't really pay much attention to. I think it's starting to get more and more visibility, but still for so many consultants, whether you're an independent solo consultant or you have a firm, if you have a mid-size or large-size firm, maybe you already have some resources going towards this. But I think for many of the people who are either solo or small firm, that many have not really spent much time thinking about how to protect themselves, and that's why it's so important. So I'm so glad to have you on, so that you could
I think
the awareness to more people, but also share some best practices to help people.
Yeah, and I think the last thing to add is, and it's one of the blockers that I come up with quite a lot, where they'll say, "Our IT guys have got this covered." That is a huge trap that so many bigger organizations, not the really big ones, but kind of medium-sized companies, fall into this trap when they say our IT have got it covered. Now the problem is, IT are traditionally quite nervous when I come along, because they think I'm going to show them up, or I'm going to embarrass them, or something, or take their job, and that's not the case. And this comes back to I think probably the first question you asked is, what are the changes in the environment? Well, if you go back 10, 15 years, IT security was just that, and the IT guys would have it covered. What's happened over the last 10, 15 years is information security has become its own separate skill set. And the two are completely different now. So one of the biggest things is IT are important stakeholders, don't get me wrong, but they're stakeholders alongside of HR, finance, and all the rest of it. You've really got to have an independent oversight of IT security and information security. So you can't give an information security project to the IT department, in my opinion, because firstly, people go, "Oh, it's just an IT thing," and they'll forget about it, and it's not that important, or they'll ignore it. But the other thing is that you need that independent governance over what's happening as security, because information security is a business risk. It's not an IT risk.
Right.
And that's why it's got to sit at a different level.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of work with established organizations for all the consultants and consulting firm owners, that even if they're of a smaller size, so not larger organizations, can you help them? Like, can people reach out to you on this, or are you more focused just on the larger organizations?
No, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm focused on large organizations because they're the ones that have generally got insider threat programs and big anti-corruption programs. But actually, for me to help those large organizations, I also need to help the small one-man consultants, or those micro businesses, because as I said, the way into those larger firms is through
Yeah.
the consultants. So, if we can help out and put some really simple measures in place to help those smaller consultants out, then yeah, absolutely great. Love to talk to anybody.
Got you. All right. Well, where should people go then? If people want to reach out to you just to learn more about ESID and maybe chat with you, Gary, to get some resources or get some guidance in this area. Where's the best place for them to go to, or best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, they can go to the website esid.co.uk, or my email address is garypeace, all one word, at esid.co.uk.
All right.
Or they can catch me on LinkedIn. It's all's good.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have all that then linked up in the show notes. Gary, I want to thank you so much for coming on here today, and yeah, just kind of shining a bit of a light on this important topic that I think far too many of us don't spend enough time on. But every day, I think it becomes more and more important to at least put some things in place. Even that initial level of protection, and of course, you can get much more advanced from there. But thanks again, Gary, so much for coming on.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, it's really great to be on the call. It's something I've listened to for many years now. So to be able to be interviewed by you is a great honor. Thank you.
My pleasure.